been taking care of my first grandson when he was 5 months old. My daughter, whom I raised, was going through some relationship problems, I guess you can say. This one night she phoned me. She says, "Mom, I have something to ask you," she says. "I want to know if you and Dad can take my baby boy." And I knew of David, like I knew he was born, but I didn't really know him at the time. And she says, "Mom," she says, if you and Dad don't want to take David, I'm going to put him in foster care." I said, "No." I sat up right away. I said, "No." I said, "I kept you out of that. Why would you want to do that to your own kids?" And I said, "Yes," right away. My husband's right beside me. I said, "When, where, and where can we meet?" And I said, it was a sir. Yes. Like I looked at my husband. I said, "Okay, let's do it." And I went all the way to Winnipeg. I met up with my girl, and my baby was sitting there. There's just a little guy. He was just 5 months old. You know, where they say that you fall in love at first sight. Yeah, that was me. I fell in love with him right then and there. I told my girl, I said, "I'm going to tell you something." And I said, "I don't want you playing with my boy's life." I said, "I don't want you saying, 'Mom, I want him back in a couple of months or whatever.' I said, 'Once you give David to us,' I said, 'we're going to raise him. We'll nurture him. We'll love him.'" We already had that love, eh? So my baby's 13 years old now. He's doing really good. He's in grade 8. He's in high school already. Time goes by so fast. And then a few years later, I found out my 2 granddaughters were in care. I had requested that if I would be able to take the 2 girls, David's 2 siblings, biological siblings. I approached a WASIS agency in Winnipeg, and I kept asking them, "Let me take him, let me take him, let me and my husband raise the siblings together." The agency, you know, yeah, they agreed, but we did everything that they told us to. And then the pandemic happened. So we got stopped for, you know, the 3 years that, you know, and they were still in care. So there wasn't much we could do, you know. So after the pandemic was over, I jumped in right away again. "Let me take my girls. Let me take the girls. Let me raise them with their brother. It's the only thing right to do." And then they said, well, and then again, I said, "Okay, you have to do this. We got our criminal record checks. We got our home placements checked." And I even took the 30-hour foster parenting course, just so that I'm doing what they're expecting from me. So my granddaughters came for a visit. It was really good to have the kids together. So the girls said, "Granny, we need to talk to you." So I knew, I kind of had this feeling that I knew something was okay. I could feel it, you know, this instinct in me. It was really hard because I'm a 60 scoop. I'm a residential school survivor. So I know what happens behind closed doors, and there's nothing that you can't say that I don't know. And they were in care for about over 5 years. In that 5 years, they were in 8 foster homes that they could remember. And then they told me things that happened when they were in those homes. And I felt so helpless, but yet I knew I could do something about it. My being a survivor just kicked in just like that. And I said, "Don't worry about it." I said, "Don't worry, okay, my girls?" I said, "Go to sleep. Don't worry about nothing." So the next morning, We were supposed to be up and heading to the airport, but I was up at 7:00 a.m., 2 hours difference in Winnipeg. And I was on the phone with the social worker. I said, no more messing around with these girls' lives. If you want to charge me or call the cops on me, I'm not sending these girls back. I said, you have told me, you do this, you do that, we did this, we did that. Now it's your turn to put your words into actions. What about all the promises you made for us? That you said that if we do this and do that, that you would help us every which way. I said, now put your words into actions. No more. I got so mad. And right then and there, the social worker said, okay, we'll work with you. And that's the way I got my girls. I got them into school, and each of my grandkids have ADHD. They all had a disability. Mom was on the streets of Winnipeg from the time she lost her kids. She went into heavy drugs. While the girls were here, this was just like last September, we heard that, my girl disappeared. So I said, okay, let's go. Let's go to Winnipeg. Let's go help find her. We'll help look for her if we have to. And she was really in bad shape. My daughter-in-law at the time is a nurse. She put a lot of strength for my girl. She says, bring her down to BC. I already got her into a recovery home. She's 7 months clean now. And she looks so healthy, so beautiful. And I think a lot of it has to do is that we have the kids together. I brought her kids together. We brought our kids together. And that's what made her doing what she's doing now. The joy I see in my kids is this, just seeing them thrive, doing good in school, making friends. As a residential 60 scoop survivor, family, love, nurturing, just being there, just showing it. I love my kids so much.